Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm continuing with my Janet Jackson discography journey, and we have made it to the year 2004 when she released her eighth studio album called Damita Jo. And I'm getting the impression that this is going to be her sexiest album yet. Even the editor's note is saying that this album is so hot, it practically glistens with sweat. Oh my god. Looking at the album artwork, reading the editor's note, reading the tracks, the titles of the tracks for this album, this is definitely going to be a hot record, and I am here for it. So, every single track on here is brand new to me. I don't think I've heard a single track off this record, so it's going to be a true first listen. But like always, if I start listening to a track and it sounds familiar, I'll let you guys know, which has happened on multiple occasions, like her previous record, All For You. There were a couple of tracks on there that when I started listening to them, I was like, yeah, I heard them before. So there are 22 tracks on this album. It's again a very lengthy record. Not as long as her prior records. This one's only 1 hour and 1 minute. Only 1 hour. But I'm here for it. Like always, there are interludes, I believe. Yes, of course, it wouldn't be a Janet Jackson album without interludes. So let's get right into it with track number one, Looking for Love. Am I glistening with sweat yet? I don't know, I thought it would be a cool idea.
We're vulnerable, we're sensitive, and we're complicated people too. So much creativity, so much energy, so many contradictions. All looking for love. Damita Jo.
Oh yeah.
Sexy, quiet, shy, but down for a good time. Taurus, my son. Just for what you see. If you wanna get close, baby, you can't do.
Yeah. Alrighty, so that was track number one, Looking for Love, and then that progressed into track number two, Damita Jo. Now, Damita Jo is a sort of alter ego for Janet. She's adopted a new sexually adventurous alter ego, Damita Jo. And that reminds me of Beyonce, who also has an alter ego named Sasha Fierce. Madonna, during her erotica era, she has an alter ego named Mistress Dita, who is some sort of dominatrix of sorts. So I love how all these pop stars now have these overly sexual alter egos that can be some sort of liberation for their sexuality for women in general and men too. And when it comes to the song itself, Damita Jo, I did enjoy it. I, of course, love the lyrics. I always love the lyrics in any Janet Jackson song. I always find them to be very honest, very true, very humble. I feel like anybody can relate to them. It's almost like I'm walking in on her life. It's like I'm reading her diary. So, and they can also be very sexual. I mean, we've heard it time and time again. Her lyrics can also be very sexually explicit, which I love. And I like the song. Is it the greatest thing I ever heard? No. Is it the greatest Janet Jackson opener I've ever heard from one of her albums? No. I feel like it's a decent Janet Jackson song. And it kind of sets the tone and mood for the rest of the album, for what is to come. But when it comes to the actual track itself, it's good, but it wasn't mind-blowing or anything. So now let's move on to track number three, Sexhibition. Sexplosion. Alrighty, and that was track number 3, Exhibition, and yes, I actually really enjoyed this track. I love the lyrics once again. Give it to you, Exhibition, never missing what you wish it. I'll drive that ass crazy. It's so sensual, incredible. Just let Damita Jo. Sexcapade, kind of a throwback to her Escapade track from Rhythm Nation. And this was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this song. I feel like this should have been track number 2. Not until track number 3 am I actually now pumped up for the rest of the album. Now I'm excited. Now I'm enthralled. Now I'm getting horny. Yes, bring it, Janet. I gotta say though, this is a very handy. There are a lot of times when I'm doing these first listen videos and I just get carried away. I start dancing, my blood starts pumping, I start sweating. It's happened more than once, and this is actually a great idea to cool myself off, especially during the summer, because it's gonna be summer soon. It's almost gonna be spring, and if I continue doing these first listen videos, which I will be, I imagine I'll be getting overheated and hot, especially when it gets really hot outside and the humidity rises. This will be a lucky thing to have. Oh, it feels so good. I'm honestly just getting carried away right now. Oh, it feels so good. Anyway, let's move on to track number 4. Ooh, I love the title of this. Strawberry Bounce. Jiggle it like Jello. Well. Alrighty, and that was track number 4, Strawberry Bounce. This was a lot of fun to listen to. Once again, the lyrics just put a smile on my face. Gyrate, then spin it like a yo-yo, slap the back, and jiggle it like Jello. Ha! Watching me do a dance, making you so horny. If you want a little taste, gotta show me how much you want it. Pop it, bounce, bounce, clap, clap, you like that. And I will say, this is a sexy album so far. I wouldn't call it sensual like a lot of her other tracks from The Velvet Rope and Janet, even All For You. This is a different kind of sex appeal. This is more of a you can look but don't touch sort of feel to it. You see me on the dance floor, I'm glistening sweat, you can see my curves, you can see my biceps, you can see my abs, you can see my skin exposed, my booty popping, and you can come close, but you can't touch it just yet. You have to admire it first. That's kind of what I'm getting from this album, not so much the sensuality of making love with someone. She does say in the song, I did a tease to bring you to your knees, baby. I broke you down, it made you feel sleazy, and then you said, you fine motherfucker, I like it, I like it. So yes, she's teasing. I guess that's what I'm trying to reach for. She is teasing on this album. She isn't going straight to the sack. She isn't saying, take me now, take me to the bedroom, and just fuck my brains out. She's kind of roping the person in little by little. You know what she's doing? She's giving all of us blue balls. That's what she's doing on this album. So let's move on to track number 5, My Baby, featuring Kanye West. Let's get into it.
Kanye, yo, Mari, and I wrote
bitch just to say I'm sorry. It's my first real Rolex, I don't even be taking. It's my first pair of earrings I can wear in the shower.
No matter what they say, baby, they just don't know. No matter what they say, baby, they just don't know.
Alrighty, so that was track number 5, My Baby, featuring Kanye West, and I really enjoyed Kanye on this song. I feel like Kanye could have been a feature on any one of these songs, and it would have been a total bop. It would have been a lot of fun. I don't care what song, as long as Kanye was featured on one of these tracks, I would have been okay with it. And of course, Janet has had features before on her album. She hasn't had very many. I mean, she had Joni Mitchell, Big Yellow Taxi, and then she had Carly Simon. She had Missy Elliott as well, who was, of course, globally well known at that point. And of course, at this time, 2004, I mean, I remember being a teenager and obsessing over Kanye West, in particular in Graduation, The College Dropout. I went through this whole rap and R&B phase. Now that I'm a bit older, I don't really listen to Kanye anymore, but I do appreciate his music, and if he was to play at a party or wherever, I would really be digging it. I would still bob my head to his music. It's always a lot of fun to listen to Kanye. And I love how he's featured on this album. It's nice that she has a globally well-known artist on this album. Not to say Carly Simon and Joni Mitchell wasn't, but if I was a teenager listening to this album in 2004, like I didn't listen to this album in 2004, but I was a teenager, I didn't know who Carly Simon was. I didn't know who Joni Mitchell was, but I knew who Kanye was. I knew who Missy Elliott was. So it's nice that she had this globally well-known artist who was catering to teenagers of the time. And I like how she's going more R&B on this album. I feel like on her prior record, All For You, it was more pop, whereas this is more solid R&B, which I really enjoy. It's taking me back to earlier Janet. And when it comes to the actual song itself, I didn't really care for it, other than Kanye's part. I feel like Kanye was the meat and bones of this song, and if he wasn't featured, I feel like this just would have been an okay track. It wouldn't really be a track I would go back to, unfortunately. It's probably my least favorite track on the album so far, but because Kanye's on it, I love it, and it would definitely be a track I would go back to. So now let's move on to track number 6, The Islands, which is an interlude, and then I will progress into track number 7, Spending Time With You.
The island. Anguilla, that's my favorite. I love the islands. The weather, I love humidity. I love the sand. I love the palm trees.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I didn't want her to stop. I wanted her to keep talking about the waves and the humidity and curling up with a nice book with her baby on the sand. I wish I was on an island. I wish it was summer. I wish I could feel the humidity on my face right now.
Close my eyes and fantasize, and I just imagine a tropical island, sunny heat, cool ocean breeze. I don't think nothing can compare. Nothing better, nothing better. Spending time with you. It's always fun to chill at home, Monday to Friday. Nothing better, nothing better. Just keep me coming, baby. Just keep me coming, baby. That's all I wanna do. That's all I wanna do. I just love listening to that. That's all I wanna do.
Alrighty, and that was track number 7, Spending Time With You, and I'm loving the tropical feel to this album. And though it's very R&B sounding, there's something very tropical about it. It's making me feel humidity when there isn't heat shining on my face. It's making me feel sweat glistening down my body when there isn't any sweat. It's making me feel sand between my toes when there's just a carpet beneath my feet. And it's Janet and her lyrics and the way she's singing the songs and the production too. There's waves and she's singing about the hot sunny heat, cool ocean breeze, the sand beneath our feet, the crashing waves are like music. Everything about this album so far is just heat, humidity, tropical, being in paradise, and I feel so overheated right now, even though it's the dead of winter, it's February, there's snow on the ground, I live in Canada, it's freezing outside, but I feel like I'm on my own little island right now. I just have to close my eyes and listen to Janet sing these songs. And I will say, though I'm not the biggest fan of this song, track number 7, Spending Time With You, I thought it was okay. I don't think it's very memorable, but it's memorable when it comes to the feeling I get when I listen to it. Again, it's making me feel about a tropical paradise. I love it. I don't know if you guys got that from listening to this album, but that's what I'm getting, and I'm here for it. I'm loving it. Anyway, enough reminiscing. Let's get into it with track number 8. Magic Hour.
That's the ultimate for me. When it's almost dark, the sun has gone down, that breeze is still there, and it's still hot out. That is just complete heaven for me. Come into the sacred, that erotic dream. Promise me that you will meet me there. I like the sexy sound of DJ. All in the sun, just tell me where to go. Right into the wave like that. Headed for the night like that. Cold wine and lay you up in front of me. Baby, from my little shop of curiosity. Everything he's better than this one for me. When I hear the song, I wanna be with you. I like the sexy from the DJ. Right to the wave like that.
Alrighty, and that was track number 8, which was an interlude, and then that progressed to track number 9, Island Life. Once again, this is just making me want to be somewhere warm. I don't care where, just somewhere warm where there's a beach, there's the ocean, there's a tiki bar, and the sun is setting on the horizon, and you see the beautiful burst of orange and yellow and purple colors in the sky as the sun is setting, and there's that warm breeze, and you're drinking some beer and margaritas with some cool people, and there's music, and you're dancing on the beach with the sand beneath your feet. So even though I'm finding these songs not the greatest, they're not the catchiest, I feel like these songs so far, I mean, there's been a couple that have been memorable, but I feel like a good chunk of these songs aren't that memorable. I'm gonna be real with you guys. But the emotions they're evoking within myself and me just feeling like I'm on a beach somewhere, I mean, that is some powerful stuff. I've never felt this before while listening to an album. An album just kind of teleporting me to a specific location. You know, I literally, I just have to close my eyes as I'm listening to these songs and just teleport myself to somewhere warm. I can feel the humidity, I can feel the sand, I can hear the waves. And that's not just because I can hear waves in the actual production of the music. I can actually hear waves in my head. I can actually picture myself in that location. I'm getting the impression that Janet, she didn't want to create another All For You. She didn't want to create another Velvet Rope. She did those monumental albums already. I feel like at this point she feels like she doesn't really need to prove herself, so she's just kind of experimenting. She's just kind of having fun. She's just releasing music she wants to release. So let's move on to track number 10, All Night, Don't Stop. Alrighty, and that was track number 10, All Night, Don't Stop. This is one of my favorites on the album. This definitely needed to be a single if it wasn't, which I'm thinking it probably was. There's a little star beside it, which means it's one of the more popular songs on the album, which is leading me to believe that it was a single. Hopefully it was a single, because this is the best song on the album so far. It's a very sexy song. So intoxicated, I'm so stimulated, feel so X-rated, I could dance all night. Work it like you're working a pole, shake it till you're shaking the floor, pop it like you're popping a cork. Janet has some of the best lyrics in the world, I gotta say. Some of the lyrics in her songs are just. They're so tongue-in-cheek. At times they're so stupid, but at the same time they're just a lot of fun to read. Spank the back door, drive me like a Porsche. Yes! So this track number 10, All Night Don't Stop, is definitely the highlight on the record. So much fun. I love it. Oh, so sexy. So now let's move on to track number 11, R&B Junkie.
Can you slow it down? I just want to dance with my baby.
Alrighty, and that was track number 11, R&B Junkie, and this was another song I enjoyed. It was a lot of fun. To me, this is probably one of my favorites on the album, and I was getting a little bit of 80s vibes from the production. I've been listening to a lot of 80s music lately, and I'm just picking up 80s influences in the production. Of course, R&B, I mean, this is a very R&B album. It's nice to hear a solid R&B album from Janet, especially after coming off of All For You, which was very pop sounding, in my opinion. So let's move on to track number 13, Like You Don't Love Me.
I saw you memorizing, 'cause you were fantasizing. Damn, is that all I get from you? About to give me an attitude. You need to make love to me. Like you don't love me, just do me, baby. Do me like you wanna do the mother girls. Just do me, baby. Come on and try. You up 3 in the morning, watching that triplets porn. Like you don't love me, don't have to be gentle tonight. Just be a man, I'm up tonight. Do me like you wanna do the mother girls. That's right, come on. Ever come down, your lady. Do me like you wanna do the mother girls. When you look at me, do you want me? Just for what you see? Do you think I'm that person that you watch on TV? There's another side that I don't hide, but may never show. Damita Jo.
Damita Jo.
Thank you.
Alrighty, and that was track number 12, Like You Don't Love Me. In the beginning of this song, towards the middle, I was thinking, you know what, I don't think this would really be a song I would go back to. I'm not really enjoying it. I think it's kind of boring, but towards the ending, as I was getting more into the song and I was picking up on the melody and what have you, I actually enjoy it. Again, I feel like this album as a whole, I mean, it's not very memorable, but at the same time, I feel like it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. I did read some of the reviews so far on the album because I was just very curious to see what people were saying at the time. And, I mean, not surprisingly, there are a lot of negative reviews. It received positive to mixed reviews. There's lots of 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 3 out of 5, 2 out of 5. There's a couple 4 out of 5s. There's another 3 out of 4. Again, like I said, this is more of a step down, but it's not as bad as people are making it out to be. I'm actually enjoying it. I feel like it doesn't have as many memorable songs as her prior work. Rhythm Nation, Janet, Velvet Rope, even All For You, I feel like almost every single track on those albums were memorable and they would be songs I'll go back to, and they were songs I went back to, each and every one of them. But this one I feel like is more hit or miss. I feel like there's quite a bit filler. I feel like it's a little lackluster, but at the same time, it is catchy to an extent, and putting aside the feelings, it invokes within me, like wanting to be on the beach where it's warm and the humidity and the sweat. In terms of the production and the actual feel of the album, it's okay so far. So let's move on to track number 14, Thinking About My Ex.
I swear that I was straight with you. Just needed someone to talk to. 'Cause I gave you my body and not my heart. When I'm holding you late at night, I'm thinking about my ex. When I'm kissing you and look at you, I'm thinking about my ex. I'm selfish and true to me. I toss and turn the light when I sleep. Thinking about my ex when I'm touching you gently. I'm thinking about my ex in a bubble bath with the candles lit. I'm thinking about my ex. I know sorry doesn't mend your broken heart. And the shopping movies. Thinking about my ex. I know sorry doesn't mean I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Alrighty, and that was track number 14, Thinking About My Ex, which is something I rarely do. I do on occasion, just not a whole lot. In a bubble bath with the candles lit, I'm thinking about my ex. Can't say I've ever done that. This song I thought was okay. Again, it's okay. I don't know if it would be a song I'll go back to. It's a pleasant song. It's not horrible by any means. Like I said before, there are tracks on this album I really enjoy that I will go back to. But I'm not really vibing with this album. And in the beginning, I was really enjoying, the tropical feeling I was getting about, feeling like I was on an island with the sand beneath my feet. I feel like I'm losing that a little bit now. I'm kind of losing interest. I'm not getting that warm feeling anymore that I did in the beginning of this album. Speaking of warmth, we're headed into track number 15, Warmth. Okay, and that was track number 15, Warmth. This was a classic, overly explicit, sexy Janet song. And you only need to read the lyrics to know how sexy it is. I mean, it gets pretty explicit. I feel you get erect. Nothing can prepare you for the warmth of my mouth against your mouth, getting you aroused. My hands wrapped around you, stroking up and down. I mean, this is hard-on central. And it does the title of the track justice, Warmth. And it's honestly not surprising to me anymore. If I hadn't listened to a Janet Jackson song before, if I hadn't listened to one of her more sexier songs before, this would come as a shock. But honestly, it doesn't really come as a shock anymore, and this kind of sounds like all her other overly explicit, sexy songs. It's like, okay, I've kind of heard this kind of song before, and it's kind of very redundant. I wasn't as enthusiastic about this song. I wasn't so shocked over it like I was some of her other explicit songs. Kiss you on the neck, rub you on your legs, smile further in, I feel you get erect, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's a very sexy song, but I feel like it's something we've heard before. This will obviously be a song I will go back to and a song I will have on my Janet Jackson playlist just because it's so sexy. But like I said, we've heard this kind of song before, and It's getting a little old, I will say. You know, these sort of explicit songs where she's moaning and, you know, talking about, you know, stroking, you know, sliding inside of me, you know, okay, we get it. So we're continuing the sexy train with track number 16. Moist. I'm just gonna drench myself completely. Yes, make me wet. Already, and that was track number 16, Moist. This song I really enjoyed. I actually preferred this song more than track number 15, Warmth, and I'm comparing the two because they're similar when it comes to the subject matter. She's very explicit, she's talking about sex, obviously, in both these tracks. And I do prefer Moist over Warmth. I feel like Moist is at least different sounding when it comes to production. When it comes to Janet Jackson's more explicit songs, I feel like this kind of sounds different from all the other ones we've heard, whereas Warmth just sounded very redundant. Row it just like that. Hope you like drowning in it. You don't have a life jacket. Who else comes up with these sorts of lyrics other than Janet Jackson? I mean, she is the queen of these sorts of lyrics. Feeling your anatomy, breaking me down, sucking on my with ice in your mouth. Which, this actually takes me back a couple years or a few years. I don't remember when, 4 years ago, when I was dating someone, and he actually read an article in some sort of magazine or on the internet about putting ice in your mouth before going to make out with someone, and it's a bit of a surprise for your lover because you have ice in your mouth as you're like kissing their torso, kissing their skin, you have ice in your mouth, and the person you're kissing gets this sudden burst of coldness and this iciness, and it's so sensual just feeling the ice melting on your warm skin. It was a bit of a surprise for me, and it's a very sensual thing, so it was kind of taking me back to that moment. You know how to make my rain come down. Yes. I really enjoyed this song. So let's move on to track number 17. It all comes down to love.
It all comes down to love. It all comes back to you. It all comes down to love. When I'm alone with you, we do things that lovers do. Tell me, is this not true? My eyes tell everything. Don't know the joy it brings. Feel the ocean's breeze. Where will this all lead? And the things that you do always seem to lead to truly in love with me. My smile says everything. If I gave my all to you, would you change your attitude? I'd always feel brand new. Wanna get away with you. Oh, the quality time makes me feel you're all mine.
Okay, and that was track number 18, Truly. This was a love song of sorts. Again, she's bringing back the ocean breeze, the tropical feel, being by the ocean, feeling the warm breeze. You're truly in love with me. You treat me just like a queen. So it's a love song. She's admiring her lover, how she enjoys being with this person. When I'm all alone with you, we do things that lovers do. So yes, that's that. Though I felt like the song was quite boring. I just kind of wanted it to end. It's not very memorable. To me, it just sounds like a filler track. So let's move on to track number 19, The One.
The confusion lifts. The contradictions melt. I gotta take someone to
Alrighty, and that was track number 19, The One, which was an interlude, and then that progressed into track number 20, Slow Love. And I thought Slow Love was a nice little dance track. You know, it was nice to have this near the end of the album. It was more upbeat, but there was something very chill and relaxing about it at the same time. It was one of those songs where I didn't care about reading the lyrics. I was just kind of having fun, moving my arms up and down. So even looking at the lyrics now, I mean, I couldn't really care less what she was singing about. It was just a fun little song to get down to, so I enjoyed it. Let's move on to track number 21, Country, which is the final interlude of the album, and then that will progress into the final track of the album. Track number 22, Just a Little While.
Joe, Dunk,
Dunk.
Booty, Damita Jo. Isn't that like a country name, Damita Jo?
Oh.
It is, isn't it? The Damita, I don't think is country Damita Jo.
I would kill for a Janet Jackson country song. Alrighty, and that was the final track of the album, track number 22, Just a Little While. This was a lot of fun, probably one of my favorite tracks on the album. Just a very feel-good song, and at the same time, it is very sexy, a lot of innuendo, as we've come to expect from any Janet Jackson song where she's talking about sex or sexuality. She's singing about, I love this line, I don't want to be a distraction to you, so maybe I'll just lay around, play by myself, or touch on all my favorite fruit. I'll need to explain to you what she's talking about right there. And she also at one point brings up strawberries, which she used it in a sexual innuendo, like you want to play with my strawberries. Takes me back to track number 4, Strawberry Bounce, which now I'm kind of picking up the whole fruit metaphor. Strawberry bounce, play with my strawberries. Islands, tropical fruit, warmth, the warmth of a woman's, you know. I don't want to say the word. Why am I struggling saying this word? The warmth of a woman's vagina. And the warmth of a lover's kiss, the warmth of a lover's feel, the humidity, the passion, the warmth of a breeze, the ocean waves, making love on the beach. Ugh. So what I'm trying to say is that I enjoyed the theme of the album. It is very sexual, just like any Janet Jackson album. But I like the story behind it, you know, the islands and the tropical breeze and the warmth, the sweat glistening off your body, humidity, heat. This is what this album brought, was the heat and the sweat, and I enjoyed it. This definitely isn't one of my favorite Janet Jackson albums. It's probably near the bottom, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, but it's not so far near the bottom where it's touchy base with Dream Street and her debut record. You know, those two albums are a total league of their own when it comes to being bad. When it comes to all her albums after Dream Street, I feel like Damita Jo is probably my least favorite. But though it's my least favorite, this is still an album I would go back to. There are a lot of tracks on here that I will put on my Janet Jackson playlist. I also feel like a lot of the songs on this album are a little derivative of what we've heard before from Janet. I feel like she's exploring similar territory, and it's kind of getting boring at this point. You know, obviously she has the sexy songs where she's moaning and being very explicit, but I feel like, you know, we've done that already, we've been there already, it's not really a shock anymore. Though I appreciate them, it's kind of, you know, it's like I want her to kind of move on and try something new. What I do like about this album is how R&B it is. I mean, of course it's Janet Jackson, all of her albums are R&B, but I feel like coming off of All For You, I felt like All For You was very pop soundy, whereas this is kind of going back to her R&B roots, which I really enjoy. I definitely don't think it's as bad as some critics are making it out to be. I don't know, maybe I have to listen to the album again, but my first time listening to it, I think it's a decent Janet Jackson album. I do think there isn't a whole lot of meaning behind the songs, whereas you go back to albums like The Velvet Rope, even Janet, even All For You, I feel like there were songs on those albums, some more than others, that really spoke to you as a human, really got deep down to your soul. I feel like she isn't really digging deep down into her soul. A lot of these songs aren't really thought-provoking. It's just about, you know, the humidity, the heat of Damita Jo. And it's just a feel-good record. She isn't really trying to be all, you know, philosophical with this album. So as a whole, it's a decent record, but it's nothing to write home about. So what did you guys think of the album? Did you absolutely hate it? Or did you absolutely love it? Do you think I'm crazy for not liking it as much as you did? What are the highlights for you on the album? What are your favorite tracks? What were people saying when this album was released in 2004? And yeah, I think that's all I want to say. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter, you can message me, you can tell me other artists I should check out. I'm open to any artist from any decade. I'm always discovering new music. And look at that, all the water is gone. Make me moist. A lot of people don't like that word, moist. They really get turned off by it. Moist, moist, moist. I'm moist. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time for her next album, 20 Yo, 20 Years Old, which is 20 years after the release of her Control album. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.